Hey, good evening, everyone. Look at it. 5 o'clock on the dot. After the time change here, we got November the 3rd, 2025, and it's getting dark already. So, hey, we got the light here. We'll head across the street, see the top of the Wrigley building. It's in light blue there. Try to zoom in to get it here. Hey, look at that. Look at that nice light blue top of the dome there. That's the top of the Wrigley building here. We're crossing Michigan Avenue at Lake Street. I think I'm going to head over to State Street just to check out the window displays there on Macy's. We were there at lunchtime, and now that the light's going down, I want to see what they look like at night. So I expected that. We saw them setting up holiday displays and Christmas lights there for the Walnut Room last week. We've been doing a lot of stuff in Macy's, Marshall Fields. Check out the reruns there on YouTube, and we'll head by there just briefly. This is my commute home from work. I'm just getting out of work here. We got 5 o'clock on the dot. There's the green line heading around here. We're on Lake Street heading into the loop. We'll cross Wabash and we'll head over to State Street, and then I'll head north as usual. We'll walk up to Lincoln Park on a Monday here. Monday time change. But hey, the weather's not too bad. We got about 59 degrees. We might have gotten to just barely 60 today. The sunshine was great. We had beautiful sunshine. Dolores, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in there. Appreciate it. Yeah, so here we'll head past the Chicago Theater, and we'll check out the window displays there on Macy's Marshall Field. There's the Trump Tower. Just looking up Wabash there. There's underneath the L tracks there. Yeah, we could head down Wabash even too. Here we'll see if we get a train going out the station here. That would be interesting. But hey, the Diversion Hotels, they want to make that a Sports Illustrated themed hotel. Has anybody heard anything more about that? I read something about it. Hubert was talking about it. And then I haven't seen any changes yet here. So there's, this is Wabash Street looking south here. Loop of Chicago. So here we'll head around. We'll go over to Chicago Theater. But hey, it's getting dark. It's getting dark there. Hey, we got the taco truck. Has anybody talked to Taco Jalapeno Salsa? I think I must have driven her away. It's my own fault. I must have hope she's doing fine. Messenger, I guess I must have offended her, and that's my own fault there. So here we'll head over to State Street and see what's shaking here. So we have I keep doing that. We got November the 3rd, 2025 here, and so we're walking over to State Street. We got out of work here. Was that right? We got 503, and here we're underneath the hey, there's the State and Lake Station. There's Zoom Patrol. How you doing there? Yeah, it's getting dark. I know no one believes that with the time change. There it is, Chicago Theater. Look at that. Got the lights on already. Yeah, so you can see it reflected there. Here, Elizabeth Catlett, Black revolutionary artist there. Check it out here. But here, Chicago Theater. We got November the 3rd, 2025. Chris Delia, Sam Harris, Jeff Curry. Hey, there's the big bus. You can take the tour there. We're under the bright lights here. Here's the box office for, they got 'Twas the Night Before Cirque du Soleil, December 11th through 28th. So 'Twas the Night Before Cirque du Soleil's coming to Chicago Theater. There's the Gene Siskel Film Center. There's ABC 7 there. Hey, people taking pictures in front of the Chicago Theater. There it is. Here, we'll get back a little bit here so we can get the whole thing here. Yeah, it's cold. It's so cold. No, it's 59 degrees. People wearing jackets. It's really not too bad. I'm just wearing my windbreaker. I didn't even wear my heavier coat today. Hey, Christmas Carol, their holiday joy. the Goodman Theater is going to have a Christmas Carol. So this is an advertisement for the Goodman Theater, which is a block over there on Dearborn. We're on State Street. The reason I'm here, they unveiled probably this weekend, they opened up the window displays here on Macy's Marshall Field. So we saw them at lunch. I want to see them what they look like at night here. Here's the Nederlander Theater. They're playing the Sound of Music there. We're crossing Randolph Street here. This is State Street, State and Randolph. And here, see, they got the trumpets out. There's the clock. Get your Frango candies. We'll start with the disco ball here. They got the disco ball. See, Marshall Field, Randolph Street. You got the disco balls out here, the nice winter coats here. Look at that. We got the window displays here at Macy's, Marshall Field's, Nederlander here. So Nederlander, Chicago Theater, Joffrey Ballet. There, Block 37. Oops. So here, let's check out the window displays here. So there we go. Look at the reindeer there. There they are. So that's the Tiffany Dome. That's what they're recreating here with the window displays here at Marshall Fields here. So yeah, they're checking it out there. So you know, we saw all these at lunchtime, and I want to see what they look like at night. They look better at night. It's easier for me to film it at night because they got it lit up. I'm not getting the glare of the window glass is what we got at lunch here. So hey, here's the Christmas holiday displays here, Macy's Marshall Fields here, Chicago, Illinois. We have November the 3rd, 2025 here. We're 5 p.m. and we got 59 degrees. We're on State Street. See, there's the Chicago Theater. They got the trumpets out. And hey, we got the Christmas tree spinning around there. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. Blythe, California, thanks for tuning in from the West Coast here. Yeah, so see how, with the time change, how early it gets dark here. Here, the Frango, get your Frango mints, your Frango chocolates here. Chocolate covered mints there. Get your cocoa bean grinder here. Look, they got the little elves. They're taking a ride there. They're going around the conveyor belt there. And then they flip over. But we got the gears here, the Frango mints, the little three-wheeled vehicles there. Hey, they got the little monster there. Get your Frango chocolate meter there. And here's the window displays here at Macy's Marshall Fields there. What do you think? Yeah. They took it back. Yeah. Martin. Doug, how you doing there? Dixon. Yeah. they're throwing out Mariah Carey. She's got to sing the All I Want for Christmas Is You. Yeah, I know. That's that's awesome. She's in cryogenics there. Here's the here's the window displays here at Macy's Marshall Fields here. And they got all the, I guess that's the store there. But here, buses are backing up here, State Street. Yeah, so see that one you can just see into the store there. We'll show you the store here. So here, State Street, see the Chicago Theater. And yeah, you see how we went in there. We got a rerun from Thursday last week. You can check it out on my live tab there. There's plenty of the little clips and stuff. We went up to the Walnut Room on the 7th floor. They already lit the Christmas tree there on Saturday. Here they got the trumpets out on State Street. Christmas starts even before Thanksgiving now, or even before Halloween. And yeah, you can look in the store there. We'll turn around. I'm not going to spend much time here because I want to get home. See, somebody's there went the skeleton. These are the skeletons left over from the skeletons on State Street here, but we're already switching to Christmas here, so we're adding the Thanksgiving. This one's probably my favorite. So you see how the clock, that's that same clock right there. There it is right there. And then they got the naughty nice list. There's everybody's names. There's the elves there. They got the telephone. This reminds me of Buddy the Elf and that Elf movie there when Bob Newhart played his elf dad. I know his real dad was the guy in New York City there, James Caan, who both James Caan and Bob Newhart are up in elf heaven there. But here's the window display here at Marshall Fields Macy's. Look how nice that is there. They got the whole city of Chicago there. Very nice. And there's the clock there. Very nice. So hey, there we go. Oops, let's head around here. Yeah, we got the skeleton there with the mustache there. And one last window display. There is one around the corner, but it's just a push cart with some flowers. We filmed it at lunch. This reminds me of the Grateful Dead. This is like very Dia de los Muertos. I like this skeleton here. And it's left over from Halloween. But here's the, see, State Street, the clock there, Marshall Field and Company, which is now Macy's. And this is a pretty nice display too. This might be the best one. They got the candelabras on the antlers. And there's the window display here at Marshall's, Macy's. Look how nice that is. So hey, we got all these nice window displays here. We'll head around here. State Street, that great street. They're starting to set up the Kris Kringle Market at the Daily Plaza, and we'll keep you up to date on the progress of that. There, look at that. Yeah, the nice window displays there. 51 days to start the countdown there. Yeah, thanks. Hey, Angie, how you doing there? Hey, Christmas coming up there. See Fritz and everybody else there. Yeah. I know. If you're tired of Christmas now, I feel bad for you because, yeah, you got 51 more days of this. Every commercial on your TV, they've already started showing selling holiday Christmas commercials. I saw even on the football games yesterday, they had Christmas commercials already. blame capitalism and blame corporate America because they gotta make the stock market's near all-time highs. They made so much profits this year that they still got to make some more. They got to sell some more stuff to you. Inflation. Here's look at the Christmas tree there. But hey, we'll head right past the Chicago Theater, and then we'll probably head over to Dearborn Street. Hey, there it is. There's the nice window displays, Marshall Field Company here. Yeah, let's cross the street here so we'll see it from the other side here. So hey, look at the Nederlander Theater. Look at Randolph Street, the theater district here. Here's State Street looking south. There's all the trumpets there on Macy's. But hey, they're playing the Sound of Music there. They're going to play Hell's Kitchen's going to come next, but I think they're still doing the Sound of Music there. And hey, there it is. Hey, Alvin, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. So, hey, we got the light here. Let's cross. There's the Chicago Theater. Look how nice it looks. Let's see, you get the Jewelers Building there. We'll head right over there. So what's shaking here? There's the Nederlander, the Gene Siskel Film Center. London, UK. Channel 5, yeah. Oh, Diane Ladd. Oh, sorry. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah, it's bad news there. So I think Wes is letting us know that Diane Ladd passed away. So sorry to hear the bad news there. So here's the Red Line subway stop. There's the Chicago Theater. People will be like, "What city is this in?" I'm like, "I can't help you out." Hey, they're working on State Street. And here's the ABC 7 there. You can go through the alley, the plug walk to get to the Goodman Theater there. They're going to play the Christmas Carol there later. They got the curtains drawn. They used to open up this windows. You used to be able to see the live broadcast, but I think they're tired of people like me standing there and filming them. So you got to watch it on TV. But here, we'll head up State Street, that great street. We saw the window displays. I posted the reruns from lunch there if you missed it. And we'll try to get across the street here underneath the State and Lake elevated CTA train station. Hey, the CTA got a $1.5 billion in new revenue because they're raising taxes. They're raising taxes on sales tax, and they're going to raise your toll there in the Illinois toll road there. So I'm sure the suburbs are up in arms because most people in the suburbs rarely use the CTA, especially now since so few people commute to downtown. Everybody works from home. She was Clark's mom on Christmas vacation. Thanks, Wes. Thanks for that. So you know, if you watch National Lampoon's Family Vacation there, she was Clark's mom. And oh yeah, so that now yeah, because they made the third movie. The third movie was the Christmas Vacation, and that's where they went to Marshall Fields. You're right. They went. Remember, he went to Marshall Fields in that movie, and they, you know, the Griswolds there. They live in the suburbs of Chicago. All those movies, they start in Chicago. Even European Vacation, I think they do. And hey, Hell's Kitchen, Alicia Keys, a new Broadway musical there from Alicia Keys there, Hell's Kitchen. It's going to be at the Nederlander. Look at the blue and purple there, the onion dome of the Intercontinental. There's the blue of the Wrigley building. Look how nice that looks. And here we'll cross the street here. We'll get you a view to the Marina Towers. Look how people decorate their balconies there. They string the lights around there. And here we'll cross Wacker Drive. We have about 59 degrees. It doesn't feel bad at all. It actually, I'm glad I didn't wear a heavier coat because I would be hot. I just got a light jacket, and since I'm walking, it's actually not too bad here. See how they're working on the State Street Bridge. They got to close to both pedestrians. And here we'll head down on the Riverwalk. Just one block. We'll head over to Dearborn Street. There's the water taxi or something coming by here. We'll get you a little scene of the river here, and then we were here at lunchtime. Is that Innisfree? That's the other one. It's one of the yachts that you can take a cruise on. That's Innisfree. That's going back to the Ogden Slip. I think it moors at the Ogden Slip. There's the Innisfree yacht heading east on the Chicago River, going under the State Street Bridge there. And there's the Marina Towers, the Corncob buildings there. Bertrand Goldberg's masterpiece there. Here we go by the City Winery here. The Leo Burnett building, the R.R. Donnelly. There's the Westin. But I'm not going to stay here long. We're going to start. We'll head straight north on Dearborn, and we might go all the way up until we cut over on Wells there. You live in River North there, Ethan? How you doing there? Yeah, it's our kind of town there. Chicago is. So the tallest building in Chicago is still the Sears Towers. They call it the Willis Tower officially, but most Chicagoans call the Sears Tower the Sears Tower. For 50 years, it's been the tallest building in Chicago. They built it in the mid-1970s, and it's 1,400 feet, over 1,400 feet tall, over 400 meters tall. It was the tallest building in the world until 1999, when the Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur passed it, and then all the towers in China, or now Dubai with the Burj Khalifa, and they're over two times the height of the Sears Tower. So if you take two Sears Towers and stack them on top of each other, that's how tall the Burj Khalifa is. Look at that giant pleasure craft there. That's somebody's yacht. That's somebody's yacht heading through the Chicago River. We just missed it didn't come by when I was down there. It shows you it's luck of the draw there. But hey, the merchandise mart's in that turquoise blue there too. Look at that beautiful blue there. November 1st there. Hey, we're November 3rd. We're November 3rd, excuse me. November 3rd. Here, let me make sure we get this glare off of my lens here. There, I guess. But there's the looking west towards the setting sun there. We got a beautiful gradient in the sky there. But here's the great view we have on the there's a great view we got on the Chicago River here, looking towards the lake. Chicago, thanks for checking it out. Look at the marina portion of the Marina Towers. There's the Westin. We'll go by the House of Blues. So you can pull your boat right up there. Yeah. Babylon is American, and Donald Trump is our president. He's president of Babylon. I think he is the false prophet in the Bible there. You might be onto something. I'm joking. I'm kidding here. You know, thanks for tuning in here. Thanks. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to the Yeah, look at the bridges in the old days. They had this wood, like, that was the first movable bridge there. That was the first prototype of the Basque-Gill. It was like a drawbridge. The river was much narrower back then. Here's the House of Blues of Chicago. We're on Dearborn Street. We just crossed the Chicago River there. And we'll head up. Hey, we'll go by Harry Carey's. Hey. Holy cow. Yeah. Yeah, Dixon, thanks for checking out New York live streamers. There's a lot of New York live streamers. We're in Chicago. We got a lot of Chicago live streamers. There's live streamers in other cities. And I'm heading home from work. You know, I work downtown. I work for an architecture and engineering firm. It's convenient for me. I've been walking to work for 26 years, or taking the train or riding a bike. I don't have a car. I do have a driver's license, but I choose not to drive. I was talking to a coworker of mine today. You know, and most people are smart. They get gas in Wisconsin or Indiana, save money. But then the city has lowered their speed limit on a lot of streets to 25 miles an hour. It's really hard to go 25 miles an hour in the modern age with cars that can go 160 miles an hour. And so if you drive in Chicago long enough, anybody from Chicago or the suburbs knows eventually you're going to get a ticket in the mail, because you'll be going 26 miles an hour in a 25 mile per hour school zone or something. And the ticket, they'll get a picture of your license plate and your speed, and you have to challenge it in court. And he goes, it's much, you know, it ends up being a tax on driving, and the city knows it. The city knows eventually they're going to get everybody speeding, and everybody be asked to pay the tax of the speed cameras, and it's annoying. The only way to avoid it is not to drive. Or if you're a perfect driver that never speeds even in 25 mile per hour zones, or never rolls through a Chicago stop sign, good luck with that. Here's yeah, we're at here Dearborn, and we just crossed Kinsey there, Kinsey Street. We're heading home from work. We got 59 degrees, Chicago, Illinois. We got November the 3rd, 2025. Thanks for tuning in here. Who's playing Monday night tonight? Got Monday Night Football. The Bears beat the Cincinnati Bengals there yesterday, 47-42. It was a fourth quarter comeback. Probably the most exciting game of the week so far, besides the World Series, which was equally exciting. Hey, look how they got the that's the old courthouse there. They got it lit up in blue. They got a lot of stuff lit up in this turquoise blue color here. Is this still for breast cancer awareness? I thought that was last month, but maybe that's this month. I got to check out what it's for. Excuse me. So this is where the Leopold and Loeb trial happened. In this courthouse, there was a courthouse before this same location that they tore down. That's where the Haymarket trial happened, and they hanged 5 of the members of the Haymarket, and they still haunt the place because it was a horrible, gruesome execution. I think they purposely didn't get the weights right. They let them strangle to death and forced the audience to watch the people strangle to death for 2 minutes instead of snapping their neck. And I hate to be so gruesome talking about this. I know we're past Halloween, but people always want me to talk about haunted places. It was a horrible, violent death, and they don't even know if the 5 people that they tried were really the people responsible. They just wanted to prove to the public that they had the power to kill people, you know, for marching for labor rights, and they wanted to show people who was in charge. And that was the same reason public executions happened in the Middle Ages. It was to show that they could do that to you if you went against their authority. And so here, let's cross the street here. We're on Dearborn Street. Go ahead. Dearborn Street, Chicago, Illinois here. We're heading past the bike path. Oh, the Cowboys. Oh, okay, so the Cowboys are playing tonight. Who are the Cowboys playing here? I missed it. Okay, Cardinals and the Cowboys. Arizona Cardinals, Dallas Cowboys playing Monday night. Thanks for the good info there. I appreciate it. Thanks, Kevin. And thanks, Terry there. Yeah, it's brutal. I know. I know that game could have went either way. I know, you know, the Bengals give it to Flacco there. They actually tied it up with, or the Bengals had the lead with 55 seconds left, after they did an onside kick. It was an amazing turn of events there. It looked like the Bengals had won it, and then the Bears, the football god smiled upon them. Lovelace got the tight end. That was his second touchdown of the day. He had a monster day there. Hopefully you played him for your fantasy football there. And tight end got 2 touchdowns in one game. Pretty good. Trying to match Gronkowski there. But in the old days here we're, or the old days, like a few years ago. Here's Grand Avenue and Dearborn here, Chicago, Illinois. We'll go past the post office. But how you doing here? We're heading home from work on a Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Renee, how you doing there? Wake up. Yeah, the Bears, I know the Bears, we're not used to Bears to having that good of an offense. To score 47 points in any capacity for in regulation, you know. And yeah, Subi, how you doing there? Yeah. I know I go on my rants and yelling a lot too, you know. We'll let people go vent in the comments there. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world we don't understand, weird things. We're not living through normal times, I'll say that. When else has the government been shut down for almost 35 days, 30 some days, and the stock market is at the all-time highs and will never sell off? I mean, so if we weren't a government shutdown, would the stock market be even higher? You know, I think the stock market's completely divorced from the reality of what day-to-day Americans face. And we've known that because of stock buybacks. They bought and sold our government. It's a government for the corporations, it's a government by the corporations, for the corporations, of the corporations, not the people, by the people, and for the people. I think the Supreme Court's completely bought and sold, beholden to corporate interests. We're doing all these emergency rulings. I know it's weird times, and I don't understand it either. Look how people ride the wrong way in the bike path. This happens all the time, and it's very dangerous when people ride the wrong way in the bike path and people don't care. The reason it's dangerous is when you cross the street, you're not expecting someone to come from the opposite way, and then they yell at you, and they're riding the wrong way in the bike lane. It'd be like someone driving the wrong way on a one-way street, and they yell at you when you cross the intersection. You're not looking the way you shouldn't have to look, and it's just everybody, including me, I jaywalk. I break the rules all the time too, but I make a point not to ride the wrong direction the bike. It's just laziness. That's my personal grievance there, because I remember when there weren't bike lanes, and now there are. And if bike riders don't follow the rules, people are going to resent them even more here. I know you got to contend with traffic. Here's the Chicago Chop House. So here's another steakhouse in Chicago. This is the former Excalibur, which was the Limelight, and now it's Dow Restaurant, which is a wonderful restaurant there, and it has a nightclub at the top on weekends, I think. I don't know if they have it every night. Here we're at Dearborn Street in Ontario. This is all the people trying to get on the highway. Here's the traffic trying to get on the Kennedy there. So here's Dow Restaurant. But this used to be the Chicago Historical Society. I think it's a Henry Ives Cobb building that he designed in the 1880s. This Richardsonian Romanesque load-bearing walls. Those are really thick walls. And look at the door here. And like, see, this used to be the Chicago Historical Society. Look at that door. And it's like a dungeon on the inside. I mean, you feel like you're in a castle. And that's why it was such a great nightclub. And it still is. It's a restaurant and a nightclub above there. I think they use it. You go in the side door here. Yeah, thanks for being on, Pizza Lisa. I appreciate it. I know I missed some of those comments. I know, we get all kinds of crazy stuff in the comments. It's par for the course. I appreciate it. I think, Pizza Lisa, I think I must have offended, or I hope taco jalapeno salsa is okay. I reached out to her. I saw she's still, and that's fine. It's probably because I went on my rants and I drove her away, which is my own fault, and I apologize to Taco Jalapeno Salsa. I hope everything's okay. Thanks everybody for your thoughts and prayers for Shauna. Shauna's dealing with a death in the family, a really close sibling there, and thanks to Anita and everybody for organizing. We're going to send some flowers, and I appreciate all my mods, and it's a thankless job. And you know, I probably, you know, this whole move to YouTube, I probably angered most of my mod team, and I understand, because, you know, but for me, the pipeline of, I like the fact that we can watch the full reruns on YouTube. There's positive, negatives, everything. I'm still posting content to TikTok as much as possible. The longer stuff, I'm making subscription only, just as a courtesy, so people have the option for $2.99 a month to be able to watch the reruns without ads. You were able to watch the reruns on YouTube for free, the full live streaming reruns if you miss one, if you want to check it out. The important stuff I cut into shorts or transfer to TikTok so you can watch it there for free. See, most of my content, the vast majority, is available to watch for free. You can watch the live stream. I'm not expecting you to subscribe. But if we get to 100 subscribers on TikTok, it'll be worth it for me to do a few subscriber-only live streams where the subscribers can comment, and we will be able to exclude everybody else. They'll be able to watch it, but they won't be able to comment. And I know it drives people nuts watching a live stream and not being able to comment, but TikTok drives me nuts. I'm so angered at TikTok that the only way I'm going to stay on that platform is to do it the way I want to do it. They've kicked me out of the creator fund. Sorry, I didn't realize what was on that screen there. This is for plastic surgery anyway. That was an advertisement for plastic surgery here on Dearborn Street. TikTok kicked me out of the creator fund, and so I'm gonna, I feel bad that I'm punishing my viewers on TikTok by punishing TikTok by just, you know, they have sweetened the payouts for subscriptions. For 2-3 years, I've had subscribers on TikTok. 50% of the profits would go to TikTok, Apple, and Google. And now, the same month that I decided to leave and everybody canceled their memberships, we went down to 0, which I appreciate people from doing that. They have suddenly changed their subscription model that 70 to 90% goes to the creators, and they did it after I switched to YouTube, so they got me back. But they kicked me out of the creator fund. I tried to reapply the creator fund. TikTok keeps claiming that my content's low quality and they won't monetize it for me. So I'm so frustrated that I'm leaving the platform as a result of it. I'm only posting reruns and the longer stuff subscriber only, and I'm still angry at TikTok, and we don't know what's going to happen with TikTok in December anyway. I don't think there's really a deal that came out of China. You notice how Scott Bessent was acting like there was a deal, and then there was radio silence, which means they didn't make any progress on the negotiation, and they're probably just going to do a hostile thing where they force everybody to download a new app, and we were going to lose all our subscriptions anyway. So, well, we'll see what happens. But here's the YMCA. Here we're at Chicago Avenue, here Chicago, Illinois. We're on Dearborn Street at Chicago Avenue, and we're heading up. Here's the bike lane here. And hey, we got the light here, so hey, we'll head up into, we're in River North here. We'll go by Washington Square here, and we'll head home from work here. Thanks for tuning in here. Oh yeah, they harassed. There was a guy, he had over 1 million, listen to this, he had over 1 million followers. He had 1.5 million followers. They did not just kicked him out of the creator fund, they deleted his entire account. And he still streams on YouTube. He's still well known. I'm sure you know the guy with the beard there. And yeah, why would I want to do business with a company that treats their business partners that way? At any time, for any reason, you know, they can ban your account. They don't have to tell you why. You have no legal recourse. They can always outspend you with lawyers. Same with YouTube, Instagram. They're all the same way. Corporations are not democracies. We don't have free speech rights. They can You know, we're subject to the terms and conditions that are changing all the time. They're always updating the terms and conditions. That's what they did, and it changed the way it impacted my account. So hey, we're still going strong here on YouTube, and so far so good. So YouTube gives me much more freedom. YouTube isn't as much of a nanny state when it comes to legal businesses in Illinois that TikTok didn't like. I did see people are finally starting to be able to live stream as passengers from the cars. Originally, TikTok Live, you were able to do that, and then they started cracking down on people riding bikes, and even as passengers in the car, they would get violations. And I got a violations for having my seatbelt on, filming out as a passenger out a vehicle. They thought I was driving. The algorithm was so stupid it couldn't realize I was on I guess it thought I was in England there, driving on the left side of the car. Hey, Winter, how you doing there? Mary Therese, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in, Mary Therese. Jessica. See, a lot of people are leaving TikTok. Jessica, thanks. See, you know, we're in good company here because, you know, remember MySpace? Who's still on MySpace? I left Facebook 15 years ago after my mother died. I left Facebook. I still got an account, but people, I've angered relatives and friends because they're like, why'd you leave Facebook? And I'm like, Mark Zuckerberg told me my dead mother missed me, and he was like, why haven't you talked to this person? And I'm like, because she's dead and she's my mother, and you're so stupid, Mark Zuckerberg, you couldn't tell the difference. That was their stupid algorithm. You know, we still kept her Facebook, and that's, you know, I was mad at Zuckerberg for Cambridge Analytica, and yeah, say Jessica, the same thing. You know, that's, you can relate, Jessica, and thanks for, you know, relaying that, because I realize I'm not the only one. So here, yeah, we're heading home from work here. We're on Dearborn Street. We're almost up to Washington Square, which is right here. And we're right by the Newberry Library. We're just south of Oak Street. This is Delaware Place, which is there. And this is Washington Square Park here. Paulette's tuning in. Hey, how you doing? So I use a Samsung. This is an older, I got several phones. This is an older phone of mine. It's probably the oldest phone I still got in operation here. This is a Samsung 23. And it works good at night. I'm using it because there's a crack in the lens on my other phone, which actually has better resolution. I have a more recent version of Samsung, but I got to fix the crack in the lens. It causes a glare like on the sun. You saw it at lunch today. Here's the dogs here. This is Washington Square here. People gather here with their dogs here to socialize, and they got the fountain off. It was on last week, so they, just like the Buckingham fountain, they left it on until Halloween, and now they turned off the fountain here in Washington Square Park here, the Newberry Library. But here you can look back. Look at that plane. That plane just flew over the one Chicago Tower. It was beautiful blue skies today. We were watching the planes fly into O'Hare from the office tower there. Beautiful blue skies. Very bright sunshine today. Low, good air quality. New Samsung. That's good. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, the dog party. Yeah, I hope the shutdown's still not going on at Thanksgiving. It's amazing it's gone on this long. Isn't it such a powerless feeling to know us as the common people, the people that live paycheck to paycheck, the people that work for the government and the TSA, people that work for the Park District, soldiers, people in the military, people going without pay, still doing their jobs. Congress is still getting paid. And one party is not even showing up to Congress, and the stock market doesn't care. The billionaires, they can live without us. The billionaires don't care that the government shut down. They probably actually enjoy that it's shut down. We got billionaires funding anonymously the current administration by giving them $130 billion to make the 1 week payroll of the military. That's admirable. I think that's nice that they're at least, if anybody should get paid, it should be the military. But isn't that like a campaign contribution or a bribe? Because it's politically, it allows one party to not, the billionaires are actually funding the strategy of one party over the other. And the billionaires, that shows you how much power they have, the oligarchs, and they're getting favors, one hand washes the other. And it's so infuriating that it doesn't even impact the stock market. The fact that this government shut down for over 30 days, it doesn't even impact the stock market. And so what's their, if the government is shut down 100 days, is it going to impact the stock market? They don't need the rest of us. They got AI, they got robots. They're cutting corporate jobs at a record pace. And I posted that video. There's a person much smarter than me that explains it, how they're investing so much in AI and the cost of chips have gone so much because of inflation. There's still inflation in the chips, and they're actually cutting staff so they can spend more money on chips. Chips are more important than people. You hear what I'm saying, people. They don't need us anymore. You often think that the people were worried that the immigrants, the migrants, the illegal immigrants were going to take your job. No. If your job could be taken by a legal immigrant, it could be taken by AI automation and Uber and Lyft drivers. We see the Cocos. We see Amazon will cut staff and replace you with a robot. Elon Musk will cut your staff and replace you with a robot. All they care about is buying back their stock and protecting their shareholders. Supreme Court provides them cover. Supreme Court said, Citizens United, that money equals free speech. We've lost our government. The government is for the corporations over us. And the only thing, we need a populist center party, anti-corporate party that draws people from both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. And somehow we need to have a reckoning here. Non-violently, I'm not for violence. I'm not for political violence. I argue that the state is currently using political violence through ICE, and that's why good American citizens like me are so appalled at what's going on, that never will we think the American public, patriotic people, would tolerate mass people slamming people to the ground, even if they're not U.S. citizens. They still have fundamental human rights. They're human beings with families, children, and kids. And if they could treat non-citizens that way, ICE, they want to, there was an ICE agent, he says, you're next. He said, F liberals. He says, we're coming after you next. An ICE person said that to somebody on the street. ICE would love to slam U.S. citizens, liberals, blowing the whistle to the ground. They would love to do it. And thankfully, the Fourth Amendment, unlawful search and seizures, and the Fifth Amendment, there would be major lawsuits. And that's why they wear the mask. That's why they use rental cars. ICE uses rental cars. Find out the company that's renting cars to ICE and see if you still want to buy a rental car from them. Same with the hotels that contract with the federal government. There are prisons that contract with the federal government right now that are making money off of ICE. Their stock went up. You can invest in ICE. You can buy stock of the prison companies that they're building prisons. And I feel the capacity they're building is larger than just migrants. They want to build them to house U.S. citizens, like the war on drugs. And there was a lot of people that made profit off the war on drugs as well, including John Boehner. And how did John Boehner make money off the war on drugs? For the vast majority of his political career, along with Bill Clinton, this is bipartisan, left and the right, he threw people in jail for nonviolent marijuana offenses. And then once it became legal, he invested in marijuana. And just like Tommy Chong makes money off of the marijuana industry. Isn't that amazing that John Boehner, someone that most of his political career threw people in jail for nonviolent marijuana offenses, then once it becomes legal, he profits off it. I think that's a little hypocritical, but we're used to hypocrisy. And I'm not doing it because he's a Republican. If a Democrat did that too, I'd be very angry too, because Bill Clinton would have threw me in jail just as easily as John Boehner in the 1990s for marijuana, as you know, which now seems stupid. Just like prohibition was stupid, prohibition of alcohol was stupid. Again, the government used state-sanctioned violence to enforce prohibition laws. How did that turn out? Crime got worse. Crime got worse during prohibition, and whatever they were trying to solve, they gave up because it wasn't worth it. And we still live with alcohol this day. It's not, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying we have to tolerate it. And there's a lot of things we tolerate that aren't good for society, but we tolerate it because the lengths we would have to go to snuff it out are not worth it. The cure is worse than the cause. They crave power. They crave power. They're greedy for money. It's so blatantly obvious. We're in late stage capitalism. This is the last hurrah. I've already sold all my stocks. I do play the stock market, but I play volatility. One day we're going to have a massive correction, and we don't know where it's going to come from or why. And it might not come back for a long time, because that's what happened in 1929, and that's what happened in 2009. Most recent memory, within a month, in 1987, the same thing happened. Of course, the stock market came back every time because of the Federal Reserve, but we got bigger structural problems with the debt and taxation problems with the tariffs are not covering the hole left by the tax cuts. They are making revenue, but it's half as much as they projected. They projected $1 trillion this year from the tariffs, and they only are getting $500 billion so far because people are finding ways around the tariffs. So here we'll head over on Division Street here. We're heading home from work here. Thanks for tuning in. We're on Dearborn and Division. There's the Clark and Division red line stop there. We'll head up Wells Street. I want to see, I guess that Fresh Market's not going to open until December. I keep wanting that to open, but it's not going to open until December. That's what somebody gave me that information there. Yeah, TF, Nelios. Mary Tree says, Cindy's tuning in. Roman the Great. Yeah, BlackRock and Vanguard. I agree. BlackRock and Vanguard. Thanks for the good comment there, Roman the Great. Yeah, BlackRock and Vanguard, they're huge, giant hedge funds. They invest in each other. They buy up all the stock market. They're responsible for a lot of the stock buybacks. They're like activist investors like Carl Icahn. BlackRock and Vanguard force the cost of housing up because what does BlackRock do? It also invests in housing because they ran out of stock to buy. And so they drive up the price of housing. They buy foreclosed homes, rent them out, and they know it. They know it's driving up the price of housing. The stock market actually wants inflation. When the stock market goes up, it's inflation in the market. The stocks are inflated. That's what it adds all this new money to the system. Money gets created out of nothing, and then they circle it back in. They buy everything up. The danger is they'll sell first, and then you'll sell later, and then they'll buy everything up and hold it, and then they'll own more. Every time there's a recession, they buy more because, they got the money now, and they can weather the recessions longer than we can. But we still got hope. There's more poor people than rich people, and if we could just get over them trying to divide us, we could unite and use the power of democracy and our constitutional republic to redistribute the wealth a little better, do guaranteed basic income, or there's something we could do. Look at the cost, look at the rising cost of healthcare. Healthcare costs are going up. Trump said they were going to go down. He doesn't have a plan. He had a concept of a plan. His plan was just to let it expire and let the costs go up because they couldn't kill Obamacare, so they're just going to kill it by making the premiums go up so much that it's unusable and no one can afford to use it. And but it's not good for the people. Millions of people rely on this for healthcare. Here's this is Wells Street. There's the Aldi there. There's the Old Town Wine and Liquors here. We'll head up past the House of Glunts here. And this is one of the oldest bars in Chicago. It goes back to 1888. Look at the tin ceilings here. They got a wine store here. There's the Near North Animal Hospital here, Wells Street, Chicago, Illinois. Here's the Old Town. There's the rabbit hole. There's the rabbit hole. Old Town, there it is. They got one of these in Wrigleyville. Hey, did anybody go up to Wrigleyville Friday night or Saturday night? I was up there, but I was up there too early. They had the street blocked off, but I saw, it looked like it was a pretty good crowd there. I think River North was a snooze fest. But hey, Haunted Halstead was great. That's where we were at, and we saw that parade. There's the happy camper here. Yeah, Black Swan, how you doing there? Yeah, America is divided. I agree. We've always been divided. When have Americans ever agreed about anything? You know. Hey, thanks for watching it live there, TF. Wasn't that a nice parade there? And we were able to stream it. There was only a few times I cut out. When I started cutting out, I retreated, and oh man, that van just pulled out in front of that SUV. That's what that honk was. Hey, we're going by Declan's Irish Pub here. This is Scott Street and Wells. So Declan's is closed on Monday, even though there's Monday Night Football. This bar is closed. I guess they had a pretty good weekend there. There's Scott and Wells here. Old Town. See, Scott, we got a street named after you. Angie, how you doing there? Yeah, we try to point out the landmarks, you know. See 1246 North Wells if you're trying to find me on the map there. So here's the fresh market. So it's not open yet. It's supposed to open December. This used to be Dom's Market, and we'll keep you posted if that ever opens up again. Here's a sushi place, the women's gym. Here's a Peruvian place here, K-A-Y-A-O. You can sit out. They still got the outdoor seating. Everybody's going inside there. Get your unexpected Peruvian cuisine here, K-A-Y-A-O. Yeah, perfect timing. Scott. So, exit. Yeah. We got a rerun of, okay, so I moved to Chicago in 1999. By that time, the original exit, which was on Wells Street, we'll go by it. We'll go see if the Ducks are out tonight. So it's about 4 blocks north of where we're at now. Here's the sit number 6 ambulance here with the police escort. There, they're turning left here. Probably heading to the hospitals over in Streeterville here. But in 1999, the exit was already moved. The original location was on Wells Street, just south of Eugenie. That's where Trent Reznor filmed the Head Like a Hole music video from his first big album. I think what happened was, I'm not for sure, it was before my time, in the middle 90s, 1990s, there was a show, whatever band it was something like Guar or something. They would have some pretty, hardcore punk bands would go there, and they were cutting themselves, they were bleeding, and they were spitting on the crowd, and people got sprayed with spit and blood, and somebody complained, and the city health commission shut them down because it was like biohazard. And and remember, there wasn't really a cure for AIDS at that time either, and so you get some random blood on you from, you're like, hey, this is not good, but so they closed down the exit and they opened up a new venue. It was on North Avenue near Goose Island. You would cross the turning base, and it was actually north of Goose Island on North Avenue heading towards Wicker Park. I got a rerun of that. It's still there. You still see the exit, but they shut that exit down at the end of 2023. That's not Coco. That's one of the Coco's competitors. That's the other Coco. There's a different company that has a different brand there. They got bigger wheels, but there's one of the robots that are replacing us there. That's making Jeff Bezos money right there. So, but the second exit, we got reruns on it, and I used to go to that exit. I hung out there from the late 1990s all the way until, I didn't go there much recently because I stopped drinking, but I did go there before the pandemic. I did not go there after the pandemic. It was open after the pandemic, but they shut it down again for health code violations. The second exit on North Avenue. So exit was a punk bar. I always call it the exit. It's exit. It's just exit without the, and it's a punk bar. They were known for having, on Thursday nights, they would have bondage night. They had, on the upstairs, on the North Avenue address, they had a second floor with a bar up there, and they had chain link fence around the stage, and they would handcuff people to the chain link, and it was all pretty much, I don't know how real it was or not. I'm sure some nights it was real, other nights it was more theatrical, but they would do the S&M leather and whips and chains and all kinds of things. But it was mostly known as a punk bar. It was kind of had a rough edge to it. I wouldn't want to see the place with the lights on. A lot of drugs were done in there, and it was probably the closest thing Chicago had to a real punk bar where you could get beat up or have a great time. Have a great time getting beat up on bondage night. Oh, this car. I didn't realize what it was doing there. Here, Schiller Street, Broken English Taco Pub is closed. Looks like they're working on it. So maybe they're going to open a new place there. Looks like they were just watching TV. But they used to have J.C. Rivera's good work on it. I'm sad that we lost that. And there's Orso's Italian. We're here on Italian dining here. We're on Wells Street, Old Town. Talking about the exit. Old Jerusalem restaurant. Yeah, flowers to the mods there. Thanks, Phil Goodyear. And thanks, everybody, for your continued thoughts and prayers for Shauna. Our condolences to Shauna. Her family, they suffered a death in the family there. And keep Shauna in your thoughts and prayers there as she's grieving. And here, we'll head up... Wells Street here. Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. So, you know, I've been walking to Chicago and streaming for 3 years. First on TikTok, now on YouTube, and we've been doing YouTube for 2 years here now. I get that question every day. Is Chicago safe? Now, with ICE, it brings an extra development to it. It's really strange because, you know, there's the normal crime in the city, you know, and that goes on all over the city, not just the south and west side. It goes on all over now. And, you know, even the north side's not immune from ICE activity. We've seen ICE in Lincoln Park, Lakeview, and Evanston in the wealthy suburbs. ICE has been in Naperville arresting people on construction sites that have been found out to be U.S. citizens. They chase them off the roof, and then they determine they're U.S. citizens. No apology. They're just harassing people. The Supreme Court says they're allowed to profile people if you speak Spanish or you look like you have Mexican heritage. I think that's a horrible judgment call by the Supreme Court to allow that. And they're just applying political lawsuit cover because everybody could sue the government for the way ICE does it. They do profile people. They do. And so U.S. citizens have taken upon themselves to harass ICE as much as their First Amendment and Fourth Amendment constitutional rights allow. And it's a high-stress situation. I'm really worried that we've already had somebody that's been killed because of ICE. We've had several U.S. citizens that have been detained. We've had older women thrown to the ground, older women handcuffed. Why do they always got to take people to the ground? U.S. citizens, take them to the ground, put the knee in the back. It's meant to intimidate state-sanctioned violence against U.S. citizens and illegal migrants, which was what it's intended. It's supposed to create fear and intimidation in those communities. But it also affects Americans that are in those communities as well. The government doesn't care. The government doesn't give two shits. They actually like the fact that people are disturbed about this. It's meant to punish liberal cities that are sanctuary cities that have liberal democratic mayor. If your mayor is black or African American or a woman African American like LA, it's doubly worse. And we know there's bias, but you can't prove it in court. And the battle between the red and blue states, isn't it interesting that the rise in healthcare costs is affecting red states just as much as blue states. And people that voted for Trump, their healthcare costs are going up just like people that didn't vote for Trump. Isn't that interesting? And all these stupid vague promises that prices were going to come down. Wait till you see, hopefully heating costs will stay low this winter because already SNAP benefits. Is there any update about this government shutdown, SNAP benefits? One day the government shutdown will be over, the stock market will rise 10,000 points, and that's what they're just waiting for. Yeah, this city's always had crime. That's what it always lasts. I'm like, you know, people that have lived in the city, like read Chuck De Los Santos' book, Once Upon a Time in the Neighborhood. He grew up in the Sheffield neighborhood in Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park especially the area he grew up, used to be just as dangerous as the South and West Side. Why is that? Cabrini Green was over here. And he had to fight on his way to school. He had to fight on his way home. He was a kid. That was a lot of kids' experience in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. You know, there was turf by turf, gang warfare. That is much better. It's still certain neighborhoods suffer more than others. But now, recently, most of the violence is this sense of drive-bys, smash and grabs, people wrecking into people. You know, that's the stupid violence that's going on now. It's just idiotic stuff that happens in all cities. It's just, we're so large, the statistics are daunting. But crime is trending down this year. It was trending down even before, and I'm sure the current president is going to take all the credit, but I think it's just that, you know, it does help that the prosecutors are prosecuting people more now. They're not letting people out in the revolving door. The liberal prosecutors did get too lax, I admit. And I know there's plenty of blame to go around on the left for letting it get out of control as well. So I acknowledge that. So here's the Old Town Ale House. The Old Town Ale House is right here, and I'm gonna go back to cross the street here. We've got some good footage of the Old Town Ale House. George Wendt used to hang out there, and it's hard to see it here. This building is the Old Town Ale House. It's across from the Second City. And there's the Second City. That used to be a movie theater here. This is where all the Saturday Night Live, not all, but a lot of the Saturday Night Live comics got their start in improv. The Second City Improv Theater here at Wells and North Avenue, Old Town, Chicago. So here we'll cross the street, North Avenue. I'm walking home from work here. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we're all going bankrupt, and how can, okay, let's see who Crypto Sniper. Can you not argue the United States of America at the federal level is also going bankrupt? Where the tax receipts that are coming in are not meeting the expenditure. The national debt's still getting larger even under Trump. The tariffs are not filling in the hole by the tax cuts. So the reason, and I don't know, I'm not endorsing this or saying this is I'm not weighing in with my personal opinion on if this is a good or bad thing. I'm just telling you the news. How you doing? Hey, thanks for saying. Here's the Second City here. The state of Illinois just passed a new tax. It's going to raise $1.5 billion to save the Chicago Transit Authority, the elevated train system, and the buses. And I don't know if Metro is a part of it or not. I don't know if it's the Regional Transit Authority or just the CTA. And they are raising taxes on the tollways in the suburbs and the sales tax for everybody in the city of Chicago. But I don't know if it just affects the city of Chicago or if that sales tax is for Illinois. I need to look into it. Again, the federal government cut off funds that were supposed to be for transit. So the state had to pick up the shortfall, and so taxes went up as a result. Yes, you know, people might move out of the suburbs. They'll say to hell with Illinois. I've never used the CTA. You know, toll went up 60%. It doesn't matter. The city sold off their parking meters. Most of that money doesn't go to the pension anymore. It goes to some Saudi hedge fund that bought them up, and they already paid it off. So now they're in the profit for the next 100 years, and they can raise the meters. America's selling off her assets. Who's doing it? Corporate America and the bad decisions of mayors and city council. I agree. Mayor Daley II deserves all the blame for doing that deal, and we still are angry about him for it, but he retired. He didn't care. He got his legacy, Millennium Park there, and, you know, long live Mayor Daley II there. He's still alive, but his wife passed away. His dad's gone. Here's where the exit, or not exit, just exit without the. Exit Punk Bar used to be right there where that Coco and that Cleaners in this building right here. The exit used to be right here. There used to be a bar there called, what was it called? It had a bunch of bucket seats for chairs, like from a truck. but that used to be the Exit Park Punk Bar. We were talking about that earlier. Then it moved to North Avenue, and then that one closed. So here we're on Eugenie Street, Old Town. It's nighttime. We'll see if the ducks are out. There still might be some Halloween decorations here because people leave them up for a few days or a few weeks after Halloween, which is fine. I think that's great. And here, Eugenie Street, Old Town, Chicago. We'll see if the ducks are out. And yeah, Kevin, I saw the Detroit Lions lost there. The Bears won. Here's the ducks. Hey, here's the ducks. So if you just joined, we're in Chicago here. Sometimes we film this beautiful house with the ducks. It's harder to see them at night, but there's the white one. How you doing there, ducks? What do you think of the Bears' big win there? They came back and beat the Cincinnati Bengals there, 47-42. What an exciting game. Yeah, I'm amazed the Bears scored that many points there. There's the ducks. How you doing there, ducks? I don't know where the turtle's at. It's hard to see them. But here's some Halloween decorations. So we'll show you the last of the Halloween decorations here. And there's Crilly Court. Mike, how you doing there? Yeah, the duckies say hello there. D. Michael, how you doing there? Wes. Richard M. Daly. Yeah, it was Richard J. Daly, which was the older, and then Richard M. Daly was the son. And they called Richard J. Daly, they called him Pharaoh. That was before my time. But I was a baby. I think he lived until 1977, just like Elvis lived in 1977. I was like 1 year old, so you can figure out my age there. But here's Crilly Court. So they took down most of the Halloween decorations here, so now it's just all dark and creepy here. This is Crilly Court. So hey, if you want to see what the Halloween decorations used to look like, we got a rerun. Yeah, the Dodgers, they beat the Toronto Blue Jays. What an exciting World Series. Wasn't that amazing? So not only did we have an 18-inning Game 3, we had an extra inning Game 7. And it was tied 4-4 going into extra innings there. And then the Dodgers got a home run. And then the bottom of the inning, the Blue Jays had a man on third base with 1 out. Double play ends the game. Poor base running decisions. People, hey, how you doing? Thanks for saying hello there. So here, yeah, we'll head down St. Paul here. And we'll show the nice Halloween decorations here. What's left of it here. Yeah, beautiful Halloween decorations here on St. Paul. I love your Halloween decorations here. This is great. How you doing? Thanks for saying hello. That's good. Yeah, I like the ribbons there. Yeah. Oh, this is good. Yeah, very nice. Have a good night. Thank you. Friends and neighbors here. Oh, look at this uplighting here. Yeah, very historic World Series. It almost was, I mean, to me, it rivals like the 1975 Red Sox versus the Cincinnati Reds. And that was the Carl Yastrzemski Game 6 where he hit the foul pole and they forced the Game 7. What people forget, and that was before my time too, because I wasn't alive, that happened against Carl Yastrzemski and that great Red Sox team that never won the World Series until much later, just like the Cubs. They were, had the curse. And that Game 7 for the 1975, that went down to the 9th inning too. And people forgot how close that game was. So that went to Game 7. And then we had a Game 7. But hey, congratulations to the LA Dodgers, 2 years in a row. Hey, they got the balloons here. They're starting to take it down here. Wonderful. Remember, we filmed this. I can still cut out the reruns. That's the good thing about YouTube is I can still... TikTok, the reruns go away after a month. I still got reruns from 3 years ago or 2 years ago on YouTube. And there's the Cybertruck here. So here, let's head down Willow Street here. Let's see if the guy with the 2 skeletons, if they got anything left before they take it down. But hey, we got over to the Barbie Scream house. They had, if you missed it there, the guy decorates. So yeah, it was a theme every year. And this year the theme was Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding, but it was Halloween style. And they were all skeletons there getting married. And had a two-headed baby here. It was funny. Banana bread there. Yeah, Mojave Desert there. D. Michael there. Mike Skellington. Yeah. 10 days. Oh, you talking about Chicago? You're going to spend 10 days in Chicago? Yeah, if you're worried about coming to Chicago, just keep your street smarts about you. Stay in the touristy areas downtown near the lake there. And if it's not as bad. Social media makes it look like a war zone because it's just mainly Broadview. People are protesting at Broadview, usually daily or weekly. And then there's the neighborhood incidents. If people encounter, they come out with the whistles and film, and it becomes a tense bunch of people yelling at each other. But that's America. So hey, you took them down. That's where the skeletons people are taking down their Halloween decorations here. Thanks for tuning in. We're in the Old Down Triangle district here. We're gonna go up into Lincoln Park here. I'm walking home from work here. If you missed it, you can rewind to the beginning. We were on State Street. We saw the window displays at Macy's. We saw them at lunch too. You know, on YouTube, you can go to the live tab. You can watch the full rerun. You can rewind, TiVo, pause. I usually cut out clips from that. You might have to watch some advertising. Now, on TikTok, I'm going to offer, for a low price of $2.99, I'll transfer a lot of the content there, and you can watch it without commercials. And it might be a smoother experience there. And why am I doing that? I got kicked out of the Creator Fund. That's several reasons I'm on YouTube. I've been trying to transition to YouTube for multiple reasons for a long time. I just decided to do it. I know I angered a lot of my fans and followers and even moderators on TikTok. And I apologize to everybody for that. I know Sarah didn't like YouTube either. Especially when I was doing it landscape. Here's Sedgwick Street, Lincoln Park, Chicago. Yeah, we party like it was 1999. I remember 1999. That was a good year. Hey, see, here's a guy running shirtless. It's 59 degrees here. It's not bad at all here. How you doing? See, you'll see guys like that. Sometimes in February, after it's been really cold, it'll get up to 30 degrees, and you'll see people running shirtless in shorts on the lakefront when it's snow on the ground. It's people in Chicago are pretty hardy, like Canadians and Alaskans, and we can deal with the harsh winters. There, Margie Still. Let's check out Margie Still here. So they're not open. Well, I guess they're open. Yeah, I guess they're open. You can come here and watch Monday Night Football. They're the Cowboys versus the Arizona Cardinals there. So this may be the only bar that's really older than the House of Gloom. So it just probably wasn't in continuous operation, or during Prohibition it was a speakeasy storefront with like secret entrances and stuff. They called it Margie Still. There was a real woman named Margie. And how you doing there? We'll head over to the Midwest Buddhist Center here. This is where Ogden Avenue used to run through here. This is the Old Town Triangle. But I hope that if nothing, I mean, it's evidenced by, look at all those people over the past 2 to 3 years. They said, oh, you're going to get shot. You need to wear a vest. Someone's going to stalk you. It hasn't happened yet. I'm pretty easy to find. People find me in the street. I walk on the touristy north side. I walk through Michigan Avenue. But statistically, those red line stations there at Grand and Chicago Avenue at State, there's a lot of crime, a lot of muggings, a lot of altercations, people batting people on the head with rocks, and people have been killed in front of those stations late at night. Usually it happens between midnight and 5 a.m. in the morning, and that's when I'm not there. That's why if you want to, the best advice I can give to anyone that's concerned about the crime and violence of Chicago, it has nothing to do with being in a bad neighborhood or being on the wrong side of the city at the wrong. It's more about being on the street between midnight and 5 a.m. If you could limit your driving, or if you could limit your walking on the street or being drunk coming out of a bar between midnight and 5 a.m., the chances of you being mugged, attacked, hit by a car with the hit and run, random bullets flying through your window, which can happen while you're sleeping at night too. You know, most of it's just wrong place, wrong time, and you're at night, and that's when most of the stupid stuff happens, like smash and grabs. Here's the, that's St. Michael's, and that's the Midwest Buddhist Center. We're here at, hey, Deborah, thanks for tuning in from Cincinnati there. Yeah, we've got some content from Cincinnati. We're still in Chicago. Here's the Schmitz-Mitzgary building. Look at this beautiful timbered, this used to be a butcher shop here, I think. And there used to be storefronts all along here. Here's Hudson Street. We'll head up Hudson Street here. Hey, they still got the pumpkins out here. The Schmitz-Mitzgary building there. Yeah, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cincinnati Reds there. Yeah, sorry that that was such a close game there. You ever heard of this guy? His name is Strawberry Ice. He has a YouTube channel there. He covers sports like the Wild Man there in Cincinnati. Oh, there's the bells of St. Michael's. We got 6:15. It's only going to ring once. But his name is Jeff, Strawberry Ice there. He has a YouTube channel there. He covers Cincinnati sports, and so he had a lot to say about that game yesterday. Check out his channel there. And if you he covers the Reds and the Cincinnati Bengals there. And I don't know if he covers the Cyclones. I know he covers University of Cincinnati sports, which is good. Maybe Xavier. But here, we cover Chicago sports. We cover, I went to the University of Cincinnati. I lived in Cincinnati in the middle of the late 1990s when I went to college there. I did not grow up in Cincinnati. I grew up in Indiana. So I went one way, and then I went the other way. Now I went to Chicago, lived in Chicago since 1999. I've lived in Chicago for 26 years. Can't believe it's that long. And I still feel like it's 1999. I still probably live my life like it's 1999. I'm kind of arrested development. I'm still like an unmarried bachelor from college here. Yeah. Help me out. Here's look at that. Look at this beautiful housing here. And this is Hudson Street. We're in between. Sedgwick's to our right, Cleveland Street's to our left. We're heading north on Hudson Street. It's a middle of the block street here. It starts and stops. And we're in Lincoln Park's the neighborhood, Chicago, Illinois. We have 59 degrees. It's actually not too bad. We saw a guy running without a shirt on and shorts. And but it's jacket weather. It feels like fall. It'll be a good night to start a fire. There's the moon. The moon. That's the moon. Let's see if we can. It's really hard to film the moon. It just looks like a big bright spot there, reflecting the sun. Yeah, I saw there was a shooting in Wrigleyville. Yeah, there's always some stupid thing. Again, that was in the middle of the night. It was just people shooting cars, from spraying bullets from a car, driving off. Very cowardly, but a coward can kill you, too easily. That's the tragedy of the modern era. I just want someone to answer this question. If you got the answer to it in the comments, please enlighten us. How is all the efforts of the NRA and the Second Amendment people, and I believe in the Second Amendment, I believe in the Bill of Rights, we talk about it all the time, especially under ICE here. But I agree people have the right to defend themselves, but I don't think we feel any safer. I don't think kids going to school feel any safer. I don't think people walking the street in this city feel any safer, because we're allowed to conceal carry, whatever. It just means there's more guns incidents because there's more guns. Now, I can't talk about this too much because I'll anger the algorithm. I've gotten temporary suspensions on TikTok for talking about this exact same thing, which is one of the reasons I'm on YouTube. I have more leeway. YouTube is much more forgiving. TikTok, you say the wrong combinations of words and you're gone, But we'll see if it happens here. But answer me that question. You think by now, and all that is done is it's sold, it made Smith and Wesson a lot of money. It's made their shareholders richer. They sold a lot of guns. But again, because there's more guns, because more people have guns, do you feel safer or not? And since we get asked this all the time, I really want to know. Here's Here, they still got the pirate here. We saw these Halloween decorations here. This is on Hudson Street. There's the pirate. They turned him off. The wheel was turning there. There's the nice Halloween decorations here on Hudson Street. Clown World, what are you lapping about? What, you want to have a fight with me? I can get everybody in the chat to gang up on you there. What are you yapping about? What, you got the answer there? Come on, Clown World, tell us what the answer is. Tell us what we're supposed to think there. You got all the answers there. What are you yapping about? Why are you watching? Why are you watching this channel? Are you interested in Chicago? Are you interested in Lincoln Park? Do you like Halloween decorations? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. What are you yapping about? Hey, Prince, how you doing there? Mike Skellington. I know. Look at that, Mike. I agree. TikTok is the nanny state. You know, and isn't it amazing that I feel like I would rather China. I'm less worried about China surveilling myself. I'm more worried about the current administration using TikTok to surveil us. I'm serious. I fear my own country more than I fear a foreign government surveilling us, especially under this situation. And it's not just because I'm a liberal and live in a liberal city. It's because I have libertarian tendencies, and I too fear about the First Amendment, the chilling effects of the limits of freedom of speech, unlawful search and seizures under the Fourth Amendment. I worry about all those things too. And, you know, all I know is the government shut down. I know they're building a gold ballroom. They have money for a gold ballroom. They don't have money for SNAP benefits. They had a big Great Gatsby party there with like women bathing in champagne and flapper girls. I mean, you know, are we in 1929? Are we about to enter like another Great Depression here? It feels like it. You know, it's like Nero's fiddling while Rome burns there. The stock market's all-time high. The stock market doesn't care about the government shutdown. TSA cares about the government shutdown. I fear we're going to push this until a plane falls out of the sky and everybody's going to blame each other because some fatigued TSA person's going to, or somebody working at the, you want to take a flight now? You want to take a flight when the person at the air control tower is pretty pissed off about his job not getting paid right now and might be distracted instead of landing your plane right. And who's responsible? The whole government's going to point fingers when they're all responsible. Every single person in Congress, we should just start over. We'll eliminate both parties and start from scratch. But here, we'll head up Sedgwick Street. Good, thanks. Thanks for living there. Jesus Christ, appreciate it. Yeah, glad the flight's fine. No, I'm not saying I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not. Everything's fine. The flights are still. There are some flight delays. There's nuisances like that. Here, look at this new construction. We're seeing it from a different angle. We've seen it. Here's the back, so they got balconies on the back there. So here's new construction here. We've been watching this thing go up here. But thanks again for everybody for your thoughts and prayers for Shauna and her family. They're going through a death in the family there. I think a lot of you know Shauna there. She's such a great person there and helps out with information and keeping everything orderly in the chat there. And here we'll head across Lincoln Avenue here. Heading home from work here on a Monday. Thanks for tuning in. We went by the on State Street there was the windows, the Christmas displays there. I wanted to see what they looked like at night. I think I was able to film them better at night than during the day. We had some glare from the windows at lunchtime. I did post some shorts there so you can see the shorts there on YouTube. I don't know if I'll use the night ones for TikTok or night. We'll figure it out tonight. But hey, thanks everybody that tuned in for the Halloween parade there. There's reruns of that from Haunted Halstead Sunday night. People are still contacting me on TikTok. They're like, how long have I started streaming exclusively on YouTube starting at the end of August. So now it's September. For 2 full months. For 2 full months, we've been streaming almost daily, at least weekdays, 3 times a day here on YouTube. And I still have people contacting me on TikTok. They're like, why don't I see your live streams anymore? How are you still producing content? I'm like, you obviously haven't watched for the past 2 months because I've been telling people repeatedly, I'm switching to YouTube for live streaming. I'm only posting reruns to TikTok. There's a subscriber option to watch longer video reruns on TikTok. Only pay for that if you don't want to watch on YouTube. You can watch my content on TikTok. We can still interact. There'll still be free there'll still be some free content on TikTok with the reruns. It's just the longer stuff. I'll make it. And you notice the longer you can still watch the first 15 minutes for free. You know, I don't want to hear anybody complaining that I'm like selling out. The first 15 minutes of the rerun you can watch for free without subscribing. So, you know, shut the F up, you know. Just, let me try to monetize my content to pay for my expenses here. TikTok pays like shit. YouTube pays much better. We're building an audience here. And the reruns, you can watch the full live reruns. You're going to get so tired of hearing my voice, and most people are. Most people, they hear my voice, they just scroll the next thing. They're like, there's that guy yapping about complaining about politics again. And it's true. But I appreciate those of you that like this content. You know how hard it is to talk this long without going to commercial? And if I stop talking, you know, some people like it, but other people, you know, you can watch this Gemini. This Gemini is wonderful. He does 60 frames per second, 4K. He filmed the Halloween parade. He filmed the Wrigleyville party. You can watch his reruns on YouTube. They're landscape. They look good on your 4K TV. He doesn't talk over them. You can just hear the crowd. You can hear people's conversations. You can hear the sounds of the city. My experience is more like a radio station where I'm like a shock jock trying to interact with people here. We did it on TikTok. Problem with TikTok, it was like, thanks for the happy heart. Thanks for the galaxy, which I appreciate. And then I would miss a galaxy. Somebody would give me a galaxy, I wouldn't even see it. Galaxies cost $10. You know, it's, and then I felt bad, you know, and I'm like, oh, I missed it, you know, and so we don't have to deal with that on YouTube, you know. Hey, there's the black skeleton. Look at that. Drinking the margarita there, yeah. Yeah, Obama 2028. I like that, Brandy. We need to troll the trolls. I always tell people, because, you know, we'll get that. We'll get Trump 2028. We'll probably get it right now. Go ahead and put it in the chat. It's great. Thanks for interacting. I said if Trump can run in 2028, so can Obama. I think that they'll try to pull like something like they did in Russia, where they'll put J.D. Vance at the top of the ticket and Trump will be vice president. And they'll be like, the Constitution said you can't do that. Trump will be Secretary of State. Would you vote for Stephen Miller if he ran for president? Just imagine the speeches. Just imagine him in front of Congress. Everybody bow down in front of me. Respect my plenary authority. He'll come out with these big words and no one knows what he's talking about. And then he'll just stare at the screen. Seriously, MAGA, do you like Stephen Miller? Why do you like Stephen Miller? We're trying to figure it out. You know, I know, you know, Bannon's a rock star. Trump's a rock star. Shady Vance, he's a rock star. You love him. You know, they're charismatic people. Stephen Miller is not a charismatic person. Why do you like him? I guess you like his policies, which I understand. That's your right to. I don't like his policies. I think he has authoritarian tendencies. Here's the Psychedelic Barbie house. Look at that beautiful Victorian here. This is on Sedgwick here. All winter long we get to view this at night here. Look at, they got the John Kearney statues there. This late 1880s here. There it is. Look at that amazing lighting scheme. Very good lighting design here. And like I said, if I was a ghost, I would haunt this place. Be like Jimmy Stewart and It's a Wonderful Life. I wouldn't haunt that place as a ghost. I'm Jimmy Stewart. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, Melinda. I agree. I was speaking facetiously. I was trying to shock the audience, and it worked. Just the thought of it, yeah. That's why I tell people, you know, I'm not saying this because I wish ill will on the president, but Trump, like Biden, is not going to live forever. You know, that's why it was kind of disconcerting there. You know, I have to admit, I saw Biden at his farewell address there. He looked pretty feeble. I was like, could we have really have, you know, could the country have withstood 4 more years of Biden as he aged before our eyes really rapidly? And, you know, it happens to anybody. It's happening to current president. He's aging. The office ages you. You know, look at FDR. How did FDR serve 4 terms? And on his 4th term, just at the beginning of it, and he was in a wheelchair, you know, and he had polio, you know, and the war, and eventually he died in office, you know. And I don't think it's, you know, who knows if it's going to happen with current president or not. You know, long live the king there. But if Trump ever goes, no one on that MAGA-verse is going to replace him. Steve Bannon cannot replace the figure Trump serves at the head of the movement. J.D. Vance cannot. He was against MAGA before he was for it. Isn't that amazing? He was against Trump at one point too. So was Marco Rubio. He was against Trump, and now he works for him. Probably Trump is trying to set up that Marco Rubio or who's the other one that they could be like the successor. But I don't know. I don't know if Marco Rubio could do it. Again, he's not as charismatic. He tried to run for president, and he lost out to Trump badly the first time. And, yeah, Trump's trying to set up either Marco Rubio or J.D. Vance. He's trying to play those two guys off each other if he wants to be the kingmaker and designate his successor. But that could change. And who else would it be, you know? Yeah, little Rubio. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, you're proving my point. That's why I'm floating this out here. I want people's reactions, and I agree with your reactions. I don't see it either. But, you know, we're only one president serves at a time. We got the president we got now, for better or for worse. We'll see how this all ends up. Things could take a turn either way. Hopefully we didn't attack Nigeria. I know they got the aircraft carrier down there ready for Venezuela. I guess since they didn't give him the peace prize, he's going to be the war president. It's all just bluster. I don't think we've, yeah. The one thing I said positive about Trump in his first administration, he didn't get us in a stupid war, and I really hope he doesn't start now. Because all wars are stupid. Here's or just exploitation, you know. So here's Clark and Belden, Clark and Belden. Yeah, so here's Charles Sumner Frost. I remembered it. See, I finally remembered the name of the architect. It's called the Cobden Building. Of course, he worked for the architecture firm of Ives and Cobb, or whatever they were called. And his name was Charles Sumner Frost. And he designed this building where the Holtzman Jewelry is. Sometimes, here it is, 2302 North Clark Street. There's apartments up there. This goes back to the 1890s. It was built around the same time as the World Columbian Exposition there. And he designed many other buildings throughout Chicago. Charles Sumner Frost. And Cobb, I think Cobb, he designed the Excalibur. They did a lot of Richardsonian Romanesque, which is what this has too. Here's the Reby Moving Storage. We're almost home here. So hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. Hopefully it was a good discussion there. We'll be back tomorrow morning there. Monday Night Football. So we'll see the Cowboys play the Arizona Cardinals there, or the Arizona Cardinals play the Cowboys. I don't know where it's at. And congratulations to the Bears there for pulling off the fourth quarter victory against Cincinnati Bengals here yesterday. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers for once again winning the World Series. And Toronto Blue Jays, what a good season there. It was what a heartbreaking loss there. I'm sure Canada's in mourning here. And I still would have liked to see what the president would have said if Canada would have won the World Series. He probably just would have ignored it. But here's the Big Apple Finer Foods, Clark Street. Here's the housing along Fullerton here. We'll see if they're playing pickleball, and then we'll sign off here. So thanks, everybody. We'll go past the old Neo's. Anybody remember the old Neo's nightclub here? There was the Neo's nightclub on Clark Street, across from the Big Apple Finer Foods. And here's this Sarai, S-E-R-A-I, Sarai Deli here. Yeah, they got some, look at that, that looks nice. Deli menu. And Anatolia, Mystica's Liquors. Anatolia is a Mediterranean place there. And here's where, this alley up here is where the Neo's dance club there, the Retro Lounge, used to be. We lost all our nightclubs. Now it's a preschool and academy. Hello. Well, have a good night, Cindy there, Deborah, Phil Goodyear, D. Michael, Mike, Subi, Wes, thanks everybody. Black Swan, Nelios, yeah, thanks for tuning across the pond there. Concetta, Brandy, Scott James, how you doing there? Look, they're playing pickleball. Look, they're all congratulating each other. Tugboat, yeah, it's a baseball game. Angie Love, Ricky Salgado, Pale Shelter, Scott James, Brandy, Concetta there, Black Swan, yes, Nelios, Cindy there, Mike, Phil, okay, have a good night there. Well, hey, thanks everybody. If I miss you, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, mods, teams. Thanks everybody for your kind words to Shauna there. She's grieving the loss of a family member there. And we'll see you tomorrow bright and early, 6:30, 6:45, around that time, a.m. And have a good night in the dark here. 6 months of darkness, Clark and Fullerton. Givers and takers, P&Z, John Kemp, Deborah. Yeah, Will Cartoons. All right, we'll see you. All right, bye. Have a good night. Thanks.